Good morning to you. Today is a day for awareness and inclusion. And I want to thank the leadership of Madison House for being here, including its founder, J. Lynn Prince. Nice to have you with me. Thank you for the work you do, partnering with families, universities, governments, and businesses to create a more inclusive world for adults with autism. 26 years after the passage of the Americans with Disabilities Act, autistic adults deserve access to the goals set by the ADA: equality of opportunity, full participation, independent living, and economic self-sufficiency. Often when those of us that give these proclamations, there is a personal story and a personal connection. And for me, my sister's firstborn struggled with Asperger's his entire all too brief life. And to find ways by which he could live independently after he was 21 was one of the hardest things that my sister and her family went through. And then to have found that place made such a difference, to find the right care where people with autism can live and live fully to the best of their abilities was really such a blessing, and it was such a blessing in my family's life. And so it is deeply personal to me. Every year, my colleagues and I on the Health and Human Services Committee have an annual review of the dollars that we appropriate to organizations who serve those with developmental disabilities. And the reason why we invest so much in that community of organizations is that we know how difficult that work can be, and how that work can have such a profound impact on the lives of those individuals they serve. That work is doubly important for adults 21 and older. Every 11 minutes, a child in the United States is born who will be diagnosed with autism. As things stand today, they will spend the majority of their lives as adults in the world of few opportunities. In the next 4 years, 200,000 people on the autism spectrum will turn 21, the age at which federally mandated services stop. Today is a day to acknowledge those adults on the autism spectrum who deserve to have equality of opportunity, economic self-sufficiency, and resources for independent living within our community. But more importantly, from that awareness comes action. Action to support those who deserve our love and deserve the opportunity to make the most of their God-given potential. Mr. Katz.
Thank you. I just wanted to join with Councilmember Berliner to thank you for each and every one of you for everything that you do for all of us. Every family has been touched. Our neighbors have certainly been touched by your involvement in our community. In fact, one of my good friends, their child has autism, and to see the growth that that child has had because of people who have taken an interest and because of the educational system is truly, it's dramatic and it's truly most appreciated. So thank you very much. I'm privileged to be involved in the proclamation today.
So let me read the proclamation. Whereas autism spectrum disorder, ASD, is a developmental disability that often appears during early childhood and can inhibit a person's ability to communicate and interact with others, and can also affect fine and gross motor skills as well as unusual responses to sensory input. And
whereas more than 3.5 million Americans live with ASD, it is more prevalent among boys and girls and occurs in all racial, ethnic, and socioeconomic groups. And whereas the prevalence of autism in the U.S. has increased by 120% in the last 20 years, and in the coming decade, 500,000 of these young adults will turn 21 when all federally mandated services will no longer be provided. And
whereas autistic adults continue to face significant life challenges, including education, employment, housing, medical, and everyday living and service needs as they strive to live more independently. And whereas Montgomery County appreciates the many organizations dedicated to dedicated to providing support and resources, including Madison House Autism Foundation, Viz Arts, Autism Society of Montgomery County, Extraordinary Minds, Keene, Up-County Community Resources, along with the Montgomery County Department of Health and Human Services, and many others helping those with special needs. Now, therefore, do we, Isaiah Leggett, as County Executive and the Montgomery County Council, hereby proclaim April 21, 2018 is Autism After 21 Day in Montgomery County. We encourage all our residents to support and provide opportunities for those adults on the autism spectrum who deserve to have equality of opportunity, economic self-sufficiency, and resources for independent living within our community. Signed this day by Isaiah Leggett, our county executive, and Hans Reamer, our county council president.
Can I get a picture with you? I can just right here. Thank you so very much for that very important proclamation. We saw the need after starting over 10 years ago and working with autism and working with the issues of adults and being one of the only organizations in the country to do so, that you gave birth here in Montgomery County to something that we hope is impacting the county and also impacting our nation. And in your proclamation today that you so kindly read, you are part of a national movement. We have gone to the halls of Congress, we have worked within the state legislature and locally, and we are hoping to do this in every state in the country. So as the population of adults with autism may traverse from state to state, municipality to municipality, that there will be a caring and open community there to embrace them. This is a project that cannot be done with just one organization or with just a few people. As witnessed too with the wonderful people standing behind us today and the organizations here that are doing so very much. It's going to take an entire community with trained professionals, with caring leaders, and with the type of leadership that I'm seeing here in the county council, that we can help affect attitudes and make certain that the doors are open and that opportunities are available to individuals on the spectrum. As one of my autistic friends stated in a posting a couple of days ago, sometimes we need accommodations. It's like being a short person. If we need a step stool to be able to reach the top shelf, you'll let us have a step stool. Those on the autism spectrum are not less, but often need a step stool to be able to reach the goals and potentials that they have. In your actions and with this declaration, we hope that those appropriate accommodations, open hearts and open community, and the talents of people like those behind us can all come together to make our community one of the stellar communities in the country with open arms. Thank you.
I apologize for being late. I just walked in just with a chance to say thank you to the advocates. This past spring break, I had the experience of riding an airplane with a young man who was in front of us who was autistic. And it was very interesting to see the difference in how people treated this young man versus the way it was years ago when people would have shied away, wouldn't have engaged in conversation, wouldn't have respected him the way he was respected. That comes from the great work of all of you in informing our community about how we are all the same. We all want the same things, and we're all trying to just live our lives and be good people. And so I think that it really speaks volumes of the work that our community has done to raise the visibility of how we are all the same, regardless of how we may have some subtle differences. So I thank you for all of your great work.
I don't know if I have enough. I'll let you guys fight.
I'll fight.
You'll fight?